Today's lesson is on understanding different pay schedules. The warm-up is something for you to complete independently before watching this lesson. The answers to the warm-up are included in the answer key to this lesson. I'm going to start down here, planning and pay schedules. How often employees are paid affects how they make decisions about spending their money. Three other factors that are affected by how often employees are paid are how to save, how to set up regular payments, and when to pay the bills. Joa is 24 years old and he lives alone. For the past 2 years, he has worked as a driving instructor. He earns $18 per 1 hour lesson and is paid for the week's work on the following Friday. Complete the following table to determine Joa's earnings for the month of June. Okay. So we have here that his week begins on a Monday. Okay, and each Monday it's on the second column informs you of how many in-car lessons he had for that week. So I'm just going to add up this entire column to get the total number of in-car lessons he had for the month of June. So just using your calculator, 44 plus 56 plus 52 plus 43 is equal to 195. Okay, so his earnings, we're going to go row by row to determine his earnings. So it says at the top that he gets paid $14 for 1 hour. Okay, so the first week of June, he works 44 hours. So I'm going to multiply 44 times 18. Okay, $18 for 1 hour, $18 times 44 hours of work that week, which is $792. Next week, he works 56 hours, so I'm going to multiply that by 18 to determine the amount of earnings he receives for the second week of June. And I'm just going to continue with the same concept, multiplying by 18 with the last two rows. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my earnings and I'm going to determine what my total would be. So I'm going to add it all up using my calculator. That's a 0. Okay, now the last column is asking what day of pay date he will receive his pay. Now I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to read what it says. It says that he is paid for the week's worth the following Friday. Okay, so the week of June 5th, let's go down here. That would be the week of June 5th is here. Okay, so Monday to Friday. Okay, so he would get paid the following Friday after that week is complete, which means he would get paid on the 16th. So Friday, June 16th. Okay. The next week is Monday, June 12th, and he would get paid the following Friday. Okay, so I'm going to delete all this. And so Monday, June 12th to the 16th, he worked. He would get paid the following Friday, which is the 23rd. Okay. Next, Monday, June 19th. This week, right here. he would get paid the following Friday, the 30th. And finally, Monday, June 26th to the 30th. Okay, the following Friday would bring us to July the 7th. All right. Circle Joa's pay dates on the calendar shown here. Moving on. When is the first pay that Joa receives in June? So in June, he goes all the way to the 16th into before he gets paid. That's the first pay he receives in June. So June 16. Joa's rent is due on the 1st of each month. His car insurance payment is due on the 3rd of each month. Why does he have to watch the calendar and always plan ahead for his expenses? Well, he has two big payments right at the beginning of the month. So he needs to make sure that there's enough money in his bank account at the beginning of the month in order to pay these expenses. So Joa has to make sure there is enough money in his bank account on the 1st and 3rd of each month to pay for rent and bills. Okay, so he needs to plan ahead of time, make sure that he doesn't have he needs to make sure or avoid having a very low amount of money in his bank account on the 1st and the 3rd, because he wants to make sure that he's paying his bills on time. Would being paid bi-weekly make Joa's planning any easier? So remember, they said that he got paid weekly every Friday. Okay, so what if he was paid bi-weekly? Now remember, bi-weekly means every other week. So 2 weeks go by before he gets paid. Would that make it easier? Well, probably not. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say no. It actually makes things a little bit more difficult because he doesn't have as many, the frequency of him getting paid is lower. So instead of getting paid every week, he's now getting paid every 2 weeks. So the amount of times that he's getting paid is cut into half. So he really needs to make sure that he has enough in his bank account to make it to the next pay date. Would being paid on the last day of each month make Joa's planning any easier? Well, if you knew that you were going to get paid on the very last day of each month, it could make your planning a lot easier. So, well, let's go back up here. And it says that Joa's rent is due on the 1st of each month and his car insurance is due on the 3rd. So that's the beginning of the month. So if you knew that you were getting paid the day before the 1st of the month or 3 days before the 3rd of the month, so right before all of these payments are due, it could kind of help you plan out a little bit more because you know that that payment's coming. There's going to be more in your bank account for you to pay these first of the month bills. Karen is a kindergarten teacher who is paid semi-monthly. She's paid on the 15th and on the last day of each month. Each pay she receives approximately $1,600 or $1,600. Calculate Karen's approximate pay per month. Well, if she gets paid twice a month and each payment is $1,600, it's going to multiply that by 2 to determine how much she would get in 1 month. All right. Fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are expenses that do not change from month to month. Complete the following table. Calculate the total of Karen's monthly fixed expenses. All right, so every month, Karen knows she has to pay her mortgage. She has to make a car payment. She has to pay home and car insurance. She has some student loans that she's still paying for and her life insurance. These are fixed payments. She knows they're coming every month. Okay, so let's calculate her total fixed expenses for the month. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this column and we're just going to add it all up to see how much is she paying each month according to her fixed expenses. Okay. In part B, it's asking us to suggest the day of the month that Karen might consider having each fixed expense deducted from her bank account. Give a reason. Okay, so I'm going to go back here for a sec. Now remember, it says that she gets paid on the 15th and the last day of each month. She gets paid twice a month. So whatever, going off of what we've learned so far in this lesson, I want to plan these fixed expenses to be paid when I know that I'm going to have money in my bank account, okay? Remember, fixed expenses mean that they do not change. They're coming every month the exact same amount, okay? So that means that I can plan to pay them the exact same day of every month. And I'm going to plan around her 2 paydays, okay? So around the 15th and the 30th, okay? So the date chosen for her payments, I'm going to make it the day after she gets paid so that I know that she has money in her account that day. Okay. You can even make it on the same day that she gets paid, but it depends on when that money transfers into your account. There may be a little bit of an overlap. So I'm just going to be extra cautious and I'm going to choose the payment day the day after that she gets paid. So we have 2 payment dates. So remember, she gets paid on the 15th and the last day of month. Okay, so I'm going to spread this out. So $725, her mortgage is a lot more than all of the other ones combined. In fact, I would say it's almost about the same amount, right? These ones highlighted in yellow, if you add them together, it's almost the same amount as her mortgage alone. So just to split this up between her 2 paydays, the 15th and the last of the month, I'm going to arrange that she's paying half of these fixed expenses on one payday and then half on the other. I'm not going to schedule them to be all on the same day, just in case you have other expenses that come up. You don't want to completely waste your entire paycheck on expenses. You want some savings. You may have other events occurring, and so you may need some money for that. So I'm not going to drain her entire pay to all of these fixed expenses. So I'm going to spread it out. So the $725, her mortgage, I'm going to put a loan, and I'm going to put that on the first day of the month. Okay, so this would come the day after a payment. So reason, she just got paid. She has the money. At least she should. Okay. And now the other ones, I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to make all of them, I'm going to group them all together, and I'm going to say these are all going to be paid on the 16th day of the month. Okay, again, the day after she gets paid. Okay, so all of them we're going to pay because all of these combined is pretty much the same amount as the mortgage. Okay, so reason for this date, again, because she just got paid. And I want to sort of spread that out from the mortgage just so that we don't eat all of the income that she's receiving for that pay. Okay. Why is this type of financial planning or planning how and where to spend money easier for someone who is paid semi-monthly than someone who's paid weekly? Well, again, it goes back to knowing when you're getting paid. So when you're getting paid semi-monthly, you are getting paid on the 15th and on the last day of each month. Okay, so you know the exact days that you are going to receive payment in your checkings account. So it's a lot easier to plan ahead, especially these fixed expenses. You can plan ahead of when to pay these because you know when the money's coming, you know the exact day. Okay. List other expenses that Karen may have. Well, these are only fixed expenses. There are so many more, well, either fixed expenses or just general expenses that don't occur on a regular schedule. Okay, so cell phone bills. We all have a cell phone. We have to pay our cell phone. We also all eat food. We need to pay for our groceries. It says here that she has car payments. That means that she drives, which means that she needs to fill up her car with gas. I'm sure that she also lives with a TV, and she has Wi-Fi at home. I'm sure that she enjoys, attending concerts, or some sort of entertainment once in a while, or if it's not a pandemic, social events. Okay, so entertainment and social events are not fixed expenses because it doesn't occur monthly, or maybe it does, but that will change. Maybe some weeks you're more social than others, some months you're more social than others. All right. Non-salaried employees do not earn a set salary. The opportunity to work overtime can help them make decisions about when to pay bills, make large purchases, or save extra money. So overtime is extra pay for working extra hours or stat holidays. Overtime can be paid as time and a half, which is 1.5 times the regular pay rate. It could also be paid as double time or twice the regular pay rate. And on occasion, you can even get triple time. Okay, so some employers, they will pay, if their employee works over, let's say, 40 hours a week or 44 hours a week, they will start getting paid time and a half or double on those extra hours. So you get paid regular time for the 40 hours or the 44 hours. And then anything beyond 40 or 44 hours, those extra hours you get paid more. Okay, so number 9, explain what being paid time and a half means. Well, it's your regular pay per hour plus half that amount per hour. Okay, so let's look at an example. Imagine that you are in a job paying $12.90 per hour. You are offered time and a half for working overtime. Show the sequence of keystrokes that you enter in your calculator to determine your hourly rate of pay for the overtime hours you work. So you get paid $12.90. So you're going to type that into your calculator. Now it's time and a half. So it's your regular pay, $12.90, Okay, and now we need to figure out what half of that is. So I'm going to divide that by 2, and that is equal to 645. Okay, so now I'm going to take my regular hourly pay, and I'm going to add half of that. And this is my new hourly pay at time and a half. Explain what being paid double means and use an example. So you're going to take your regular pay per hour, and you're going to add the same amount. Or, if it's easier, you take your regular pay per hour, and then you multiply by 2. So let's take that $12.90 again. This is how much you get paid per hour, double time. You're going to multiply it by 2. So now you're getting paid $25.80 per hour. Okay. Last page. Calculate the time and a half pay rate for the following regular hourly rates. So on your regular hourly rate is $14.60. What would your overtime hourly rate be if it's time and a half? So again, I'm going to take this $14.60 and I'm going to divide it by 2, which is equal to $7.30. And I'm going to add that $7.30 to my regular hourly pay. And that's going to equal to my new time and a half pay per hour. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the next example. So $11.40, I'm going to divide it by 2. That's equal to $5.70. And then I'm going to add $5.70 to my $11.40. That's going to equal to my new time and a half hourly pay. And finally, my $10.75 divided by 2. And that's equal to $5.38. And then I'm going to add that to $10.75. Alejandra usually earns $13.87 per hour, and she works 40 hours per week at a local grocery store. Last week, she worked an extra 8-hour shift and earned double time for those extra hours. Okay, so 40 hours at $13.87. Okay, and then 8 hours double time. So what's her usual weekly salary? That's highlighted in yellow. So we're going to take $13.87 and we're going to multiply by how many hours she usually works. So she usually gets paid $554.80 per week. And how much more than usual did Alejandra make last week? Well, let's figure out what her double time is. So I'm going to take her hourly rate and I'm going to multiply it by 2. So her double time pay is $27.74. Okay. And then she worked 8 hours at $27.74. So $27.74 times 8. So she actually gotten $221.92 extra that week. Okay, and then check your understanding. You're going to complete independently just to consolidate today's lesson. You can reference my answer to check your understanding on the answer key that's provided. Message me if you have any questions.